I am Rashid. I'm the host of the Red Pill Diaries. I'd like to first, before we go live, thank each and every one of you for giving us another hour of your time and another day out of your busy lives. Thank you so much. It's very much appreciative. I also would like to ask you to subscribe, to like, and share the video. Before we go live, which will be going in just a few seconds, to my left or my right over here, which is your left, check out all of our social media platforms. Please remember to subscribe to those and go show your support. We hope to give you a powerful show. We thank you again for giving us the opportunity to come to you and give you unfiltered, unadulterated truth. Okay? Because we know in a time where lies prevail, truth is a rare convenient. And truth is a rare commodity that we must use to get to the masses so that we can empower them with wealth, mental, spiritual, and emotional wealth. As the world that we know dies out, and as the governments that we know who rule the world try to enslave us mentally, spiritually, emotionally, psychologically, and economically. On that note, thank you again. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And also on all of our social media platforms here, go and do the same thing. We really appreciate it. Now, on to the fire. We're about to go. Greetings, family, and welcome to another edition of the most powerful platform for truth, bar none, anywhere on God's green earth. This is your platform for enlightenment, education, and elevation, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, psychologically, and economically. This is the Red Pill Diaries, and I am your host, your brother, and your friend, Rashid. I want to give a shout out to each and every one of you who are listening and watching live, and those who will join us later and watch the replay. So we have a lot of breaking news, and we're going to talk about that. We're going to discuss this. And vindication is sweet, isn't it? Vindication is sweet. So let's go into this. Where are all the pundits who were saying that Iran would not dare strike Israel from Iranian territory? And I kept telling you, all who were listening, that they, from what I learned, that they were prepared to strike, and they were going to strike from Iranian territory, and they were going to use other things. But everybody said, no, Iran may use proxies and may do this and may do that. And I kept telling you, that is not what I've heard, okay? I'm behind the scenes. So, again, there's a lot going on, but we got to get to this because, again, we have to break things down and explain to everybody. So everybody that's watching me, we would say locals, but it's disconnected again. We'll say everybody that's watching us on our sister channel, the Red Pill Journals, this channel, the Red Pill Diaries, the Twitter, Rumble, and Odyssey, and Twitch. Thank you all. Now, let's get into this. Things are starting to escalate, aren't they? Now, I want to say something. I want to share a few things with you all because, you know, the name of the show is Live Breaking News. The Islamic Republic Strikes Back. So, in that title, it says a lot. And for those of you who may be listening, I got incense burning, the sage, so you'll see the smoke come across the screen. So ignore that. But excuse me. But listen, when I say things are escalating, what we're watching is a challenge. This is a direct challenge to the so-called rules-based order. And I want to address something that I've kept hearing earlier today on alternative media sites and stuff that I've heard throughout the week on alternative media sites, all right? Especially dealing with this very situation, okay? I've been hearing a lot of alternative channels say that Iran was in backdoor deals with the United States to avoid escalation and to avoid this. Now, a source told me that Iran did pass on some stuff to the West to not get involved in this, or else this will escalate. But Iran has the right to retaliate, and it will retaliate at a time and a place of its own choosing. That's what was disseminated to me. Okay. Now, all of the media kept coming out with stuff like there's a deal done, and Iran has said that they will stay away from this, and if America doesn't get involved, then Iran would not respond in a major way. Well, we're seeing that they've sent hundreds of drones and there are missile strikes. As a matter of fact, RT is reporting Israel and allies intercept incoming Iranian drones. Now, here's the kicker to this, okay? So, as they talk about this, we'll go to this article because I'm just seeing it with you all, and we're going to discuss it because there's a couple more articles that go with this, and then I got a clip for you, an audio clip, okay, that vindicates what I've been saying to you all for a few days up to a week or so, right? And that also pours cold water on alternative media's views of what is going on and what would happen between Iran, America, and Israel. So we'll read this article first before I play the clip, and we're going to dissect this, okay? So you all bear witness to what I'm doing and have patience with me. Before we can erect the house, we got to lay the foundation and make sure the foundation is tight so the house is not condemned and fall on you. So we're going to give you the truth. We're going to empower you, and then we're going to let common sense and rational thinking take over, okay? So this article that just came out from RT, the title of it is Israel and allies intercept incoming Iranian drones, media. West Jerusalem, instead of them saying Tel Aviv, they continue to try to make you think that West Jerusalem is the capital of occupied Palestine. You understand? See, right here, they're playing semantics with you. And most people who read that just go with the flow and don't even realize that West Jerusalem is not the capital of occupied Palestine or Israel. Tel Aviv is. But the press wants to, because the Zionists in power in Tel Aviv want everybody to recognize their control over Jerusalem. They acknowledge without any proof, without any backing, without any legitimacy, because of UN regulation and UN laws, that West Jerusalem is the capital of occupied Palestine. See, they play with your mind with these little things, but we're going to go a little further. It says, West Jerusalem and its allies have reportedly shot down more than 100 UAVs. The U.S. and other Western allies are reportedly helping Israel to defend against retaliatory Iranian strikes, deploying fighter jets and other defenses to intercept incoming drones and cruise missiles before they reach Israeli territory. American forces have started shooting down unmanned aerial vehicles in the skies over Iraq and Syria, according to unconfirmed Israeli broadcast reports. Now, there's a lot packed up into that. It says, Western allies. What Western allies? Talk to me. Do you remember just the other day the British deployed ships and said that they will not get involved in that? Guess what they're doing? They're trying to get involved in it. See, I told you, you can, when you see America or you see the UK, they're one and the same. They mirror each other back. They are very deceptive. They are brutal. They always phrase things in a way where they are the victims and must come and must defend themselves. And when we know that they are the aggressive ones who are initiating war and destabilization, right? This is what they do. But in bizarro world, where up is down and down is up, the victim becomes the aggressor and the aggressor becomes the victim, okay? So it says American forces have started shooting down unmanned aerial vehicles in the skies over Iraq and Syria. What's the matter with that? So we already know that the striking of the consulate in Syria was a direct violation of international law, and according to all regulations in the UN Charter, was a direct act of war because the consulate and the embassy is considered an extension of Iranian territory, right? Now, if America is this honest broker, why didn't she shoot down the Israeli missiles that were targeting a diplomatic mission? I'm asking you these things. Why is it that America and Great Britain or the UK and others are aiding the thief and the robber against the victim? Iran didn't assassinate Israeli generals and military staff. Iran did not attack an Israeli consulate and embassy on territory in another nation. This was done by Israel. But if you look at the press and you look at the media, even alternative media, as they try to explain the situation, they try to absolve Israel of a lot of aggression. They don't tell you that this was a direct act of war according to UN law. These lawyers, these pundits, all of these people try to ignore this, because if they were to focus on this, then people would say, hey, we held that leader responsible for what he did, that leader responsible for what she did. Why are we aiding the aggressor in this case and not holding them responsible for what they did? You see? But if the media can fashion and mold a narrative, right? And then the alternative media try to be a little fairer, but at the same time, they still want to absolve the aggressor of his crimes, then they can put the onus on the victim. Listen what they say. Listen to the talk that they use. We have warned Iran to not escalate. We have warned Iran to calm down and negotiate. Stop right there. Why didn't you warn Israel to do that? Why did you warn the victim? And why are you bullying the victim and threatening the victim and yet aiding and abetting the criminal? You know why? Because the nations that are aiding the criminal are criminals themselves. Right? We know that. Let's not play this game. We know that these are global terrorists. That's what they are. And they'll fashion anything to justify their intervention, because it's something that was said in that paragraph right there. Listen again, that most people, when they read it, they read past it and keep going. It says, American forces have started shooting down unmanned aerial vehicles in the skies over Iraq and Syria, according to unconfirmed Israeli broadcast reports. Are either one of those nations territories of the United States? I'm asking. And if we come to the conclusion that neither Syria nor Iraq are provinces of the United States of America, then, and we ask, have they gotten the permission to do those things in those sovereign territories by those elected governments or those sovereign officials? And the answer comes out to be no. Then what is that? Those are active wars against Syria and Iraq. And those are violations of international law by the United States, because that's Syrian airspace, that's Syrian territory, that's Iraqi airspace, that's Iraqi territory. It's not the United States territory. It's not Israeli territory. It's not British territory. It's not French territory. What if Syria, what if Iran, just for a minute, what if Iran was to post one of their ships off the coast of the United States and start knocking down stuff that the United States had up? They would say that that was a direct act of war. Huh? So it's an act of war if I do it against you, but you are defending somebody if you do it against me. Do you see the madness in their logic? This is what I'm telling you. When you're dealing with sociopaths, right, and people who are psychotic, you have to use rational thinking, and then you have to step back and look at their actions on top of their words. Because they'll tell you anything. They'll sell you any dream. Because they're Walt Disney. Everything is make-believe. It doesn't matter if we're losing on the battlefield. Look what's going on in Ukraine. It doesn't matter. We're going to double down. We're going to triple down. We're going to quadruple down. And since we own the global media, we'll shape the narrative. Even though Ukraine is getting its butt handed to it, the entire Western world, including the so-called world's only superpower, is getting her butt handed to them because of the Western media. If we give Ukraine a couple more billion and a couple more weapons, then they can overcome Russia. The narrative instead of the reality. And this is what you're getting on a daily buffet table from mainstream and so-called alternative media. They continue to sell you dreams. They won't address the issues at hand. They tell you that this started, all of this in Gaza started October the 7th. The Hamas did something brutal, and now everybody find out that what we were saying when we were reporting it, that it was not Hamas killing civilians, it was Israeli forces killing their own civilians. And now with all of the evidence out, nobody issued an apology. They just continued on like they never heard it before. And then they used the new news to say they came up with it. They want you to believe that this started in October 7th, right? And we have UN resolutions that tells us that Israel was in violation of international law repeatedly. And America and the UK and the Western world ignored it and never held Israel to account. And that's what led up to October 7th. They pushed all of that away. Because if you bring everything in focus, you know how if you're looking through binoculars or you're trying to take a picture of a beautiful scenery, right? But the scenery, it seems like it's a little bit too far. So, and you're trying to focus that lens to try to catch that lightning in the bottle. Sometimes if you don't adjust your thinking, right, or your lenses, quote unquote, you can't see the entire picture. And if you can't see the entire picture and you're presenting it to somebody else, they can't grasp the beauty of the picture. So that's what they do. They give you a distorted view because they don't give you the full picture. The world knows that Palestine was occupied. The world knows that Palestine was treated brutally and became refugees in their own land. The world knows that year after year, there were resolutions passed and Israel threw them in a trash can. Now, where we are right now is a direct result, not of Iran, not of Syria, not of Iraq, but of policies of Britain, the United States, and France. The United States and Britain took Palestine and gave it to people from Europe. Most of the people who run, these are not indigenous to that area. Most people don't understand that. They're not indigenous to that area. I'm gonna pass something on to you all. Let's use a little logic, okay? Okay. And I know I might get suspended. I know YouTube will not give me the exact view count or whatever after the show. I know that much. But we're gonna address this even if they don't want to play fair, okay? They say that the people who now call themselves Israelis or Jews had to have a land, a country of their own, because they were brutalized by Adolf Hitler, right? The whole world was so concerned with that, right? Why weren't they concerned about? Because remember, this only took place over a span of less than a decade or so, right? Why weren't they that worried about people who came up from slavery? Why didn't you give them a home? They experienced more brutality than they did. So what is your point in taking? Because remember this, I'm going to show you something. When we look at the creation of the state of Israel, you hear people say that Israel has the right to exist, in words saying that Israel has the right to occupy another person's house, right? And then if you ask them the question, why do you say that? Because they were brutalized, and they some of them were sent to the gas chambers, and this, and this, okay? And you say, okay, I have no problem with that. Now you ask them this question: who victimized them and who brutalized them? And they'll tell you it was Adolf Hitler and Germany, right? Let's say that again. When you ask the world and you look in history and you say, who victimized them? The answer is very clear. It was who? Adolf Hitler and Germany. We have an answer. Now, let us use logic, because I'm not doing this religious stuff because everybody holds dear to their faith or whatever like this, but we want to break a few things down, okay? If history tells us, and scholars tell us, and even Western history books tell us, and even Israelis themselves tell us that it was Germany that brutalized them, then why the hell didn't Germany pay the price? Why did the Palestinians? Because remember, they were going to start the nation of Israel in an African country. Most people don't know that. They were discussing whether to take Algeria or Morocco or something like that and give it to them. Nobody discusses that. But they came up and they took Palestine under what? A British mandate. I want to show you something, okay? Let me go to something real quick while I'm talking to you all. All right. Give me 1 second. We do this live, everybody. So bear with me because there's a lot to address. All right. Because all of this stuff is connected to what is going on with the missile and drone strikes or whatever. Okay. So be patient with me. All right. All right. Here we go. Right here. All right. That's what we. So, yeah, that's what we need. See, live on the air, I do this. So there's no pre-planning or anything. I'm going to give you the truth. We're going to pull it up and we're going to show the world that, hey, anybody can do this. So, look. How did Israel become Israel? They say that they partitioned, right? That means they tore apart or broke up Palestine, okay? And then you ask them, well, who did this? And they'll say, it was done under what? A British mandate, right? Right? Okay, let's go to the dictionary for a minute. The word mandate is a noun. It says an official order or commission to do something, a mandate to seek the release of political prisoners, instruction, directive, direction, authority, approval, acceptance. Now, why do I break this down? So let's look at those words, those key words, those similar words that are used in place of the word mandate, okay? Because we're talking about Palestine, and we're talking about Israel, and we're talking about the legitimacy of Israel, because it's always talking about its fighting enemies and stuff like this, okay? So we're going to see something. Let's look at this. It says instruction. All right, who gave the instruction to balkanize Palestine? It was the British and the U.S. That was their directive, right? They gave direction and backing for that to happen. That's according to the dictionary, right? So they said they had the authority to do it. They gave their approval to do it, and it was accepted by the Western world. Okay. Who gave them the authority? Who gave them the authority? Did the people in the Middle East give the approval? No. Did they accept it? Hell no. You see, there's no acceptance of today. Right? So who gave them that mandate? Who gave them the authority to issue instructions or directives on somebody else's own land? That's like if I come to one of you guys, right? Take your house. Now you paid for it. And I come and I occupy your house and relegate you to a room and misuse you and your family. right? And then after that, because people accepted it over 10, 20, 30 years, I said, this is my house, right? And you saying, who gave you the authority? This is my house, right? And then every time you try to overcome me and my family, we brutalize and victimize you and your family. Are you the terrorist or are we the terrorists? Because you're indigenous there, right? I just kicked in the door and said I needed a place to stay. And I relegated you through acts of violence and terror, you and your family, to your room. Who mandated that? Did the Palestinians mandate it? Did they give the direction, the instruction, the directive, or the order to do that? If not, who gave Britain and the United States the authority to? They had none. It was because they had a powerful military. It was because they were trying to shape a world order in their image and in their likeness. And they formulated rules that will back up their policies. Stop me if I'm lying. Stop me. Who mandated? This is the colonial mind. I'm going to take your land because I want it. I'm going to relegate you to a reservation. And after 20, 30 years of me using propaganda, you become the terrorist for fighting me who occupied your land. See, that media is a strong and powerful force. Okay? I see y'all in the chat. I'm going to come to y'all shortly. So look, we're talking about this. The strikes on coming from Iran. We're talking about all of this. We're going to address this. See, some of you all, for those of you who are joining us now, some of you may have not seen it live, but I give you passion. I give you truth. I might offend you, but don't get offended by me. Some people, when they're in this bubble and you burst the bubble with truth, they are offended because they were insulated in this climate, and they no longer have that to rely on. They now have to do the research. They now have to use that gray matter up there to figure out whether or not this is the truth, right? So don't be offended by me. Don't be offended by the truth. Let's just accept it for what it is and keep it pushing, okay? So now, we see that Israel broke the laws, international law, violated Syria, violated Lebanon. Some people say the attacks even came from Jordan airspace. So we'll just put an if, that's 3. Violated Iran, that's 4, right? Because of the bombing of the consulate, there was a violation of international law in every respect, all right? And the Western press, the Western media, the Western governments continue to give cover for these blatant acts of terrorism. Iran is escalating. That's not escalation. If you kill, because I give examples, everybody. I want you to understand. I give examples for a reason. Because sometimes it goes over other people's head when you're talking. So if you can, you know how if you were in school and you're looking around, everybody gets this but me. Why? So I give the example so that everybody can understand the situation. And no one feels left out of what's going on. Okay? So now, let us look at this. And let us for 1 second put Israel in Iran's stead. Do you think that the West would be telling Israel not to escalate? Let's just look at it. Look at what they're doing to the Palestinians, right? Now, let's look at that. The Palestinians have no army. The Palestinians run for food aid and get bombed. Mothers get killed with their children. And the United States, Great Britain, and everybody else continues to arm and finance what's going on. They are justifying mass slaughter in front of the eyes of the entire world. They are victimizing. They're making the victim the aggressor and the aggressor the victim. They're doing the exact same thing with Iran. As if Iran, the laws of nature don't apply. As if the laws of global governance don't apply. If Iran would have struck a U.S. embassy, a UK embassy, a French embassy, a Israeli embassy, you would have never heard the end of it, and you would have had the entirety of the whole West back in Israel, whatever they wanted to do. But when it's Iran, calm down, right? Play the long game, all right? Attack through proxies. Don't directly confront us, right? But America was struck on 9/11. She went in there and tore the whole Middle East and Central Asia. Think about that. She was struck on 9/11, 2001, and she has been waging a global war, not on terror, but of terror since then. Iran's embassy is hit, or consulate is hit. Top tier advisors and generals of the elite Revolutionary Guard are killed. Syrian soldiers are killed. Soldiers are killed. Children were killed. They don't put that in the news because in the consulate there were families. And Iran does not have the right to respond. Man, if you don't go with that foolishness. Now you're in your feelings, America, Britain, and all of the EU won't condemn the strike, trying to give Israel a way out. And America was struck on 9/11. And I want you to look at this. 2011, 2001, to 2011, that's 10 years. 2011 to 2021, that's 20 years, right? They have been fighting for 23 years because of what took place on 9/11. They have that right to do that, but Iran does not have the right to do that. If you don't stop this madness and double standards, what says your life is better than mine? Your security is better than mine. All of this racist stuff, new European security architecture. Africa is not destabilizing Europe. You say there's an influx of refugees to Europe. Okay, I grant you that. What made them refugees? Your exploitation, stealing their resources, putting corrupt leaders in their positions, bribing people, waging war, assassination across the continent, not just in Africa, in Eurasia, not just in Eurasia, in the Middle East, not just in the Middle East, over to Latin America, not just in Latin America. America in the West even does this in Europe. Look what they've done to Ukraine. They've turned it into cannon fodder. America cannot get this idea out of her head of complete global domination. And you talking about there's an influx of refugees. You shouldn't have destroyed Libya. Look what happened to Libya. On some trumped up, made up stuff because you didn't want them to be financially and agriculturally free of Western domination. So you went and destroyed an entire nation. And now you're crying about the influx of refugees that are a byproduct of your policies of hegemony. Stop it, because I don't feel sorry. Stop that. A new European security architecture. I'm going to ask everybody. Does Africa have any bases in Europe? No. Does Latin America have any bases in Europe? No. Does the Caribbean have any bases in Europe? No. Does Asian nations have any bases in Europe? No. Do Middle Eastern nations have any bases in Europe? No. Now, let's reverse it and flip it around. Does European and Western nations have bases in Latin America? Yes. What about the Caribbean? Yes. What about Africa? All across. What about Asia? Everywhere. So how the hell can you talk about European security when you're destabilizing everybody, including Europe? Russia would not have done what it did had you not pushed up to its borders. Africa didn't do that. Latin America didn't do that. The Middle East didn't do that. Asia didn't do that. It was America and European nations that did that. So the destabilization of Europe is a product of hegemonic policies. Do you understand that? See, nobody's going to talk to you like this but me, because I give two flips if you get mad, especially when I'm speaking the truth. I love everybody, and I love, when I say I love everybody, I'm talking I love everybody who loves the truth. So let's get that clear. If you don't like the truth, I don't like you. But I'm going to speak it as long as there's blood running through my body, and I'm able to take in oxygen and exhale. Excuse me. So listen, the policies of the West are destroying the West. I saw Olaf Scholz say that Russia turned off the gas. No, you turned off the gas. America blew up the pipeline, not Russia. You sanctioned Russia. Europe sanctioned Russia. America sanctioned Russia. Now, if it were me, it wouldn't have even taken that to cut off the pipeline. Because you're not going to wage a proxy war on me, invest hundreds of billions of dollars fighting against my soldiers, trying to destabilize my country and putting us in some kind of predicament without me responding. If I know that you're relying on the gas and the oil, I'm going to stop it. I'll sell it to friendly nations. And then I'll put a little thing in the agreement. If you sell this to the West, then I'm going to consider you an enemy, and I'm not going to sell it to you no more. Russia is self-sufficient when it comes to commodities and rare metals and all of that stuff. So I'm helping you out. This is what would be in my mind if I was Russia. I would tell India, China, but specifically India, because India plays both ways. And the rest of the nations, listen, you see what they're doing to me. You see what they're trying to accomplish. I'm going to continue selling you oil and all of the other stuff that I have that you purchase from me. But if you refine the oil, sell the gas, or any of the commodities, then I'm going to have to sanction you also. Isn't that what America and the West do? When they sanction Russia, what do they say? They have secondary sanctions. That if you, even though this is a detriment to your sovereignty and your policies and your people's security, they will sanction you if you trade on something that they've sanctioned Russia and Russia is selling it to you. They'll sanction you. Right? You don't have to play nice to a person that's constantly kicking up dust and starting trouble in your neighborhood. You give them a fair warning, and when they cross the lines, then you sock them in the mouth, and it doesn't have to be militarily. You can and you can show them. See, Russia is a little bit more like, well, I won't say Russia, I'll say some of the, it may be the fifth column, it may not be, it may be just a few of them. I don't think that they understand the mentality of the UK and the US. They may get some of the other ones, but not the US and the UK. They have it in their DNA, the leaders, to lead the world, to direct the world, to control all the global governance, like all of these institutions, so that they can have the most say. That's in their mind. And if they don't have it, they're prepared to take the world to war. Look what they're doing. Look what they're doing. These are sociopaths. You know, I'm going to share something with you, and we're going to stay on this. So let me find this real quick. So people were saying that there would not be a direct response. We're seeing the direct response underway. I'm going to come back to this. Oh, Pedro is in the building. That Rando is in the building. Flying Crocodile is in the building. Archie is in the building. Joel, my guy Joel is in the building too. Holly is in the building. Perseverance Chameleon is in the building. Oh man, this thing is jumping so fast. I'll go back through and check everything in a few. Give me a second. It's jumping. But I want to go to something. And they were talking about that Iran would not strike directly, right? That's what they were saying. But we see they were wrong. And we had it right. They were also saying, because they kept regurgitating what the West says. See, some of these alternative media channels, they have good intentions, but they take the West at its word on major issues. And I'm saying to myself, there is no way that you should just believe America or the UK or Britain on matters. There's no way. You got to look at it in a whole nother perspective. So they were saying this right here. Iran said that, and I mentioned this yesterday live, but I saw other channels mention this, but they left out an important part of what was said. They said that Iran said that had the UN Security Council voted to condemn the Israeli strike on its consulate, then there would be no need for a strike. That is not what they said. That is not what the ambassador said. That is not what the Iranian government said. They left out an important part. Iran said, had the UN Security Council condemned Israel for its action against its consulate, and then brought the culprits to justice. That's a major part right there. Brought them to justice. There would be no need for a military strike. Why are people leaving that part out? That is the main part of the statement. Why are all of these so-called alternative media sites leaving this out? Why are the mainstream media leaving this out? So I want you to hear something. I'm gonna play the audio. I don't want to play the video because I don't want no strikes. Okay, right? Hold on 1 second. Let me see if I can pull it up. And I hope that you guys will be able to hear it. Hopefully it's still here. Let's see. Give me 1 second. Pull it up. There we go. Hold on 1 second. So listen, I'm going to turn this up and I'm going to hold it to the screen because I don't want to strike. But this vindicates what I have been telling everybody, even as all of the major channels said something different. I kept telling you that Iran was going to retaliate and they weren't going to hide their hand when they retaliate. Okay? I kept telling you that. That's what was told to me. So listen, I'm going to play this. This is Professor Mohammed Marandi, who helped negotiate the nuclear deal, who is a professor at Tehran University and who has connections in and out. And he fought in the Iraq war, and he was hit with chemical weapons, I believe, twice and survived it. I want you to listen to what he has to say about this. And since we have about 100 people in the building watching live, please hit the like button. And please listen, even if you don't agree with everything, subscribe. Because YouTube continues to take my subscribers from me. All right, help a brother out. I'm just joking, but please subscribe. You can't take everything serious. You gotta laugh a little bit, okay? I want you to listen to this. I hope this is loud enough for you. So I'm gonna put it here and I want to play it.
Which I know, I would love to listen to you the whole day, but I know that you have an important interview after this with actual media, not a small one like me. But let me just go to this one, because what Iran is going to do is a big question for everyone. So this is New York Times an hour ago saying that Middle East crisis, travel warnings issued as Israel prepares for possible Iranian strike, and this image of Tel Aviv in a gloomy way, as if the Iranians are making they're bringing darkness to this city of love and and sunshine. So the first thing is, it's been 12 days. Many people say, where is Iran's strike? Why Iran hasn't retaliated? Then there's a speculation. They brought some Israeli army general yesterday to channel 12 of Israel, saying that Iranians want their revenge cold. The other one says Iran is not doing. Then again, Reuters said Iranians have told America we're not going to do. Yesterday, Iranian ambassador to United Nations said, if only United Nations Security Council had condemned the attack, we didn't have to retaliate. So there are mixed messages.
That's not what he said.
But that's how it was reported. So what did he say?
Yes, that's how it was reported.
Yeah. What did
it also said I don't remember the wording, but it also, and if the culprits were punished, and not just condemned, but also if those who, carried out this attack were punished. But in the reporting that I saw, they removed this part of the statement.
So check this out.
Why?
So, vindication, baby. I'm telling you, vindication. I told you guys this. Told you that. So, vindication is sweet. We have Solar Bear, we have Sid UK. Okay, Sid just put something in here. I'm gonna put it up here. He says, I'm gonna highlight this. All right. Sid says Iran has a few direct hits on Israel, including Negev military base. Interestingly, the news is on Telegram, but not reported on mainstream yet. Yeah. Thanks, Sid. Net Randall, my guy. Cheers, Rashid from Canada. Here to help you, sir. Salute. Peace and prosperity to all. Holly, salute. Rashid, salute to you, Holly. Thank you. Look what Sid says right here. They thought of taking Uganda or Ethiopia for Palestine. I told you. Palestine, I mean, for before Palestine, I told you that wasn't the first place they considered. They were talking about big African states to take from the indigenous population. And then what they did, they settled on Palestine. And then they changed it to Israel. That's in their papers. They even said it. I'm not making any of this up. All right. Solar Bear says spitting facts and truth. Thank you, sir. Let's see. Perseverance Chameleon says the British gave Palestine to Israel after the collapse of the Ottoman Empire. Boom. and then Holly says, all I can say is finally. She's been waiting for this response too. Remember, all of the pundits were talking about Israel. They didn't think that Iran would dare attack Israel directly. Remember that? Remember? Now, I don't know. Listen to this, good. You cannot believe the Western media. You heard what Morandi says. He says he was talking about not just the mainstream, he was talking about the alternative media also. They conveniently left out the main part of what the ambassador said. Why? Why did they do that? Because it misled so many people, and it had people coming to conclusions that were not sound conclusions because they didn't have all of the information at their disposal. And it was detrimental to them and their standing in the eyes of people who watched them and heard them say those things. Flying Crocodile says, this thing is just going up so fast. God, hold on. I'm gonna miss some of you all, and I'm gonna try to go back. Listen, man, I'm trying to get this on my thing. It's going up fast. Let's see. Net Randall says, Russia currently has Muslim and Jewish autonomous oblasts or provinces, from Soviet and contemporary Russia, Like you got Dagestan, that's a Muslim republic, and you have the Chechens in Chechnya, that's Muslim. I believe 33% or 33% of the former Soviet Union, 33 or 40% were Muslim of the former Soviet Union. Let's see. Perseverance, they did think about sending them to the Congo too. Let's see, this thing is popping. Everybody, please forgive me. I have no control over this thing popping so fast. All right, Archie says, I got to Archie. It says the effing Western media is sicking, is vomit on us at the moment. A false flag event blaming Iran. Well, that could be a possibility. But Iran has acknowledged on Iranian official Iranian media websites that they launched the attacks. I mean, so it could have been a false flag, but I would go with their launching the attacks because on MERS, on what is it? It's about 3 other Iranian news sites that are saying that this is taking place. So Archie, that's what it is. And then Perseverance Chameleon says all the actions of the West on the African continent are designed to destabilize with a view to extracting all the resources for free or as cheaply as possible. That's right, but listen, that's not just confined to the African continent. They are doing it in Haiti. They're doing it in Latin America. They're doing it with in Asian nations. Why do you think that America put so much pressure on North Korea? Because they did. The Americans are no fool. There was a study done, and they found that outside of China, which holds almost a monopoly on rare earths material, I think it controls about 90 to 93% of all rare earth material. Anything that you need in computers or warplanes or tanks or whatever, that comes from China. They did a study and found that North Korea has huge, untapped, undeveloped areas where there's plenty of rare earth material. They found that there are trillions in gold and silver and commodities, and there's a lot of untapped oil and gas in North Korea. That's why the United States continue to pressure North Korea. They want the government to collapse. They want their proxies in South Korea to take over, and then they have Russia and China completely surrounded on all sides. And then they have control over the waterways. They have control over all of the resources from the nations around the periphery of Russia and China. That's their goal. And then they can hold Russia and China, their national policies, ransom to a nuclear first strike. That's what they were planning. Joel says, how high will gas be when the market opens Sunday night? You guys and gals think. I'm trying to tell you. It was already climbing on the tension, right? And now you say something very important, Joel. So you say, how high will the gas be, right? Remember, one of the things that America was trying to make its proxy stop doing was attacking. Well, they said they were stop attacking Russian oil infrastructure, right? Because it was making the price go up, and America's economy is in such a situation that they will be a victim to this policy. So think about the ramifications for the U.S. economy and the deficit spending. They're going to have to up the deficit spending. That means inflation will rise. That means the value of your dollar will collapse. And go back to something earlier that we were just talking about right before I got on this, about the resources. We see them stealing them in Latin America. We see them stealing them in Haiti. We see them stealing them in Europe. We see them stealing them in Africa. But here's the thing. They're trying to steal them in Europe also. The one European country that had resources was Ukraine. They had that black earth that could grow anything. They had coal mines, which are in the Donbass. They have a huge amount of untapped oil and gas reserves in the Black Sea, which is now under that area that they did the survey on is now under Russian control. The U.S. and the West were trying to dominate. They were trying to get all of this stuff. Why do you think there's a connection between Joe Biden, Hunter Biden, Burisma, which is in Ukraine, and why Joe Biden had the prosecutor in Ukraine fired? And all of that also connects to that crypto scheme that they had going, where they were whitewashing money in Ukraine. Man, I'm telling you, these people are corrupt as hell. Right? Let's see. Pedro said, God, dog. Pedro says, in the UK, we're paying approximately $6.5 pounds for a gallon of gas. That roughly turns out to be what, like $8? $8 a gallon. Whoo. I know your pockets are hurt. I know it. I'll be crying. But let's go. Flying Crocodile. Everybody read the comments. Flying Crocodile has some stuff in the comment. He says, I watched an interview by Colonel Daniel Davis yesterday on what really happened on the ground on October 7th. Colonel Jacques Bald, it was a real eye-opener for me on pre-80s history. I did not know. Yeah. Flying Crocodile says that Palestine also included all of the land of Jordan, which was also stolen from the Palestinians. Listen, I addressed this yesterday. All of these countries in the Middle East, if you go back and look, a lot of them didn't exist prior to 1970 or 1969. These nations are a product of British, French, and U.S. colonial mandates and rule. Now, to give you an example of what I'm saying, when you look, because most people, when they look at Arabia, Saudi Arabia, right? and they look at the House of Saud, and they say these are Islamic fundamentalists, right? But the House of Saud, they're Jews. They pretend to be Muslims. That's why the British were able to give them this firebrand and call it Islam, called Wahhabism. That came directly from the British. Do your history. The British did that. So when they're condemning Wahhabism, that's a byproduct of your policy of domination. The House of Saud, they were bandits. Listen to me good. Go do history lesson. See, we got to address this stuff. The House of Saud, they were bandits. They were in the desert robbing and raping people and killing people and holding them hostage to be paid. And the British and the U.S. thought that they could use them. And they struck a deal, and Arabia was no longer Arabia. They put their stamp on it by changing the name from Arabia to Saudi Arabia, stamping the name of the clan that they put in power on the nation that they're occupying. If the House of Saud were Muslim, why the hell are they destroying sacred Islamic symbols? Why are they just trying to destroy the tomb or shrine of Prophet Muhammad or Abraham of all of those prophets? Why are they doing that? They're not. Just what I'm saying. If you go back in history, there's a book that they would make you read in school. It was called Lawrence of what? Of Arabia. Nowhere on that book was it called Lawrence of Saudi Arabia. You understand? These, like the UAE and the Qataris, and these are made up fiefdoms or sheikdoms by the US, the British, and the French so that they can exert control and rule over the region and the resources. You know that? If they weren't, let's look at the situation. Let's give the Western press a little credit for, and let's say that the those Muslims over there are extremists, right? And now let's look at Palestine for a minute to give you an example. And what the West deem as extreme in occupied Palestine by Hamas. Well, if Qatar, the UAE, Arabia, and these other sheikdoms and fiefdoms were really fanatics, why the hell are they standing by watching Israel do what it's doing in Palestine? Why didn't they strike military bases or overrun the U.S. military bases in their country when Israel struck an Iranian consulate? Why is ISIS and Al-Qaeda always attacking the same people America is attacking? Why haven't they lobbed a missile into Israel? Why haven't they lobbed a missile into U.S. bases that are illegally occupying Syria? They were more concerned with overthrowing the government of Syria. Why? Wasn't that an objective of Obama and Hillary Clinton? To overthrow the Syrian government because he would not allow an oil pipeline to come through and feed up through Turkey so that Europe could get gas from Azerbaijan and the other nations to bypass Russia? I'm asking. Why were ISIS and Al-Qaeda fighting on the same side of Israel and the United States and the so-called international coalition against Iraq and Syria? If those are fanatic Muslims or fanatic Islamists, like they say on the TV, surely if they were fanatics, they would be attacking people who attack Islam. They would be attacking people who attack Muslims' land. But all you see from Al-Qaeda and Boko Haram and ISIS are them attacking Muslims and Christians in the Middle East. Why is that? Why? Oh, I know why. Because those groups are products of U.S., UK, and Israeli propaganda and psychological warfare. Okay? You know we played the clips on the other show. Don't make me go into the crate and pull one of them up. Matter of fact, since we're on this subject, let me pull one up. Here we go right here.
Against the state of Israel, political plots and others.
You tell the story about how you tried to find out what what they call the Mossad when they deal with publicly?
I thought it was a reasonable question, but the trouble is you can't pick up the phone book. There's no Langley in Israel that you can look up, CIA, or in our case, the Mossad. We thought we should ask, what shall we call it in English? You can translate the Hebrew words, as I said, Mossad is institute, but when they write a letter to their friends in the CIA or the British intelligence, what do they call themselves? It took a while. It was a matter of asking the Prime Minister's spokesman. The best you could do, because officially the Mossad is under the Prime Minister's office. And I think he sort of wondered why you want to know and all that, so we explained. And he came up with the Israeli Secret Intelligence Service. I mean, if it were to have initials, it would be ISIS. Just simple words like that. Interestingly enough, kind of a British model.
Say the Israeli Secret Intelligence Service, and it was modeled after what? Was it modeled after Arabia, the so-called fanatics? Was it modeled after Iran, the so-called theocracy? Was it modeled after the Syrian Arab Republic? What about, was it modeled after Turkey? No. Who did that man say it was modeled after? The British. Right? I didn't make this stuff up. I'm just telling you, I'm giving you a geopolitical and historical lesson on these matters because they continue to omit this stuff. Islamic extremism, Islamic terrorism. Just because somebody yells Allahu Akbar. Do you know the Christians over there, because they speak Arabic, you know what they call their God? Allah. You know that, right? Huh? Do you understand what the word Allah means? Huh? See, because they dumb down the people and they turn you against me against, because they deprive you of the oxygen that is needed to breathe spiritually and mentally by killing you with propaganda. There are 99 names to God: the beneficent, the merciful, the all-knowing, the all-powerful, Joshua, in Hebrew, or Jehovah, or whatever you want to call him, or the all-wise, the all-knowing, the all-powerful. All of those names, those are 99 attributes of the God. But when you want to give him all credit and put them all together, when you want to say Moses and Jesus and all of that stuff, you put them all together and it's Allah. That's the 100th name. It encompasses all 99 names of God, giving him all credit. But they don't tell you that. They dumb you down to the reality of what's going on so that they can exploit your ignorance, so that they can remain in power and feast off your ignorance while you're down at the lower levels fighting with people. How the hell do you think they stay in power? Why do you think they pass on generational wealth, generational positions? Look at Washington, D.C. and how there's a revolving door of politicians and CIA agents and military people that come in and out. They boom, 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 boom. Lloyd Austin, right? These people, they were in the military, they become politicians, and then they sit on the boards of all of these weapons manufacturers. And then they pass that down to others. Or they go to a college and teach classes there while they're getting all of this money. Right? And you exploit it. I hate them old Muslims. Them Muslims are terrorists. And you don't even know that the United States created Al-Qaeda. The United States, Britain, and Israel created ISIS and Boko Haram. You don't know that we had pictures. They're on my other computer. I can't bring them up right now. But we had pictures of U.S. Special Forces in Iraq holding up the ISIS flag, and that's why you see a lot of those people over there with hoods on, and they're riding on the pickup trucks, and you see them screaming Allahu Akbar, and you see them with beards, right? A lot of those are British, French, and U.S. Special Forces. They had a few of them forgot to pull the sleeve down, and they had U.S. Special Forces on their shirt, tattooed. But the terrorists, their thousands of miles away in those people's land, trying to dictate to them how to be governed, how to live, what to think, what to say. They want to change you from godliness to gender neutral. They want to do all of that stuff. All of it is ungodly that they're trying to do. And you become the terrorist because you won't accept it. You didn't go over there. They came over to your land. And they're occupying it and refuse to leave. Has America left Iraq? Has America left Syria? Huh? What about Germany? Well, that's an ally. That shows you just how much America values her allies and just how much she values their friendship. She wouldn't even return the gold that Germany requested because America was holding it. You know why? Because America don't have the gold. Told her she'd get it back in what, 10 years. Man, I'm telling you, these people are crazy as hell. That's for real. Let's go a little further. So, Ascended Awakening. He's in the building. Let's see. Oh yeah, Holly. I see. Let's see. Oh, Incognito is here too. So, salutations. It could be over. A ball back in Israel court. Will they retaliate for this? Let's see. Holly says I read there were explosions over Jerusalem. Now, if there were, they're probably at a military or a police station because Iran takes their beliefs seriously. They would not bomb Jerusalem itself because Jerusalem is the third holiest city in Islam. Okay, you have Mecca, Medina, and Jerusalem. Okay, let's see. The Naughty Kitten says, God is with Russia. God bless Palestine, Ireland, and Iran. Let's see. Well, you know what? We're entering a new world order, right? And the old has to go. Now, you got some people who are Bible thumpers who don't understand it. And what I mean by that is, listen, if there is a judgment, and there is, right? How does America think that she's going to dominate the world when she has been the cause of the instability, the wars, and the destruction for at least a century? Huh? If there's a judgment, you got to be judged for your actions, your policies, and you can't deny them because you got them in your Library of Congress. All the actions of a government. Oh, wicked. Think about this. They're teaching little kids little boys to be girls, little girls to be boys. Oh, it's okay. It's okay. They're messing with these people's minds. They are taking the power away from the parents. If you discipline the children, you go to jail. If you don't discipline the children, 5 years from now, they go to jail. And then you become responsible for them not becoming successful in society. That's crazy, right? What else can you expect when you have crazy leadership? If you have crazy leadership, guess what they produce? A crazy environment. And it becomes pervasive across the nation, causing the nation itself to become crazy as hell. They dumb down the information. Look at what they've done. They've sanctioned you if you say something about an election. They talk about, Putin was not elected and there was a lot of funny business going on, but you mentioned that about Joe Biden. YouTube will take you off. They'll censor you. They'll throw you off your platform. And this is supposed to be the land of the free. Freedom of the press, freedom of expression. And then they slow you down, take you out of the search engines, they steal your subscribers, they do all of this stuff because you have the nerve and the audacity to say what's true. They dumb you down. This is a part of a dumbing down process. And these people in power want that because they want total obeisance to their policies. And they don't understand. When you destroy sound content, sound education, and you put foolishness in the minds of people, and you having them chasing dreams, what you're doing is setting a thermonuclear bomb at the base of your society and your republic. But because they're in power and they are benefited, they don't care nothing about you. And they think that this will go on in perpetuity, even though their thoughts are against nature, against mathematics. They believe that they are the exception to the rules, even if they're God's rules. Oh, forget about what God says. We all can be homos today. And I'm not, for YouTube, don't suspend, I'm just using that as a phrase. I'm not demonizing any particular sexuality, race, religion, or anything. Okay, I got to say that because YouTube will come at me real hard. They just stole about 40 or 50 subscribers again. But anyway, they tell your children that you don't have to be confined to your gender that you were born with. Right? They push materialism in music and in mainstream media, so people are no longer trying to focus on God. They're what they say, they're paper chasing. They're trying to chase materialism, and when they get the material, it's never enough. They want more. 1 million is not enough. Oh, if I could just get 1 million. You get 1 million, you want 10 million. Oh, if I can get 100 million. You get 100 million, you want 10 billion. Look at these people, 100 million, $100 billion. How are you going to spend that? It's never enough. When you don't have God at your core, materialism will never satisfy you. I don't care if you got all the planes, all of the cars, all whatever you want. If you don't have God as your core, your foundation, you will never be completely satisfied. And you see it. You see the suicides. Then you'll see on TV somebody will come in and go kill the children, kill the wife, then commit suicide. And you say, I thought that person was sound. I know that person. You didn't know that all of this stuff that they continue to hammer in people's head messes with the frequency of your brain. And you start thinking contrary to the way nature brought you here. And that's why I continue to harp on a biblical verse. And though they did not like to retain God in their conscience, meaning in the knowledge, God gave them over to a reprobate mind to do those things which are not seemly. So you see the emphasis on materialism, not on the sanctity of life, not on respect of people and respect of persons. It's on how much I have, how many people I can force to do what I want to do, how much power I can have, but it's never enough. And we see that in society. Why? Because it mimics the governments that represent the societies. You understand? Oh, yeah, it's a good time. It's a good time. So it says, oh my God, Ken. Ken is in the building. Ken, what's up, man? I didn't see you. What's up? It says, Flying Crocodile says at least 2 Iranian missiles hit land, but no idea whether they hit a worthy target. Let's see. P says 100. Oh man, that Randall put this up. U.S. killed 33% of Korean population and destroyed every man-made structure in Korea. North Korea has carte blanche in response. Boom. Boom. That's a mic drop moment. Boom. So how you going to call somebody a murderer, a butcher, like Biden did? When he has made his living, his children have made their living off of the blood of other people. Look at the arrogance, the greed, and the no-holds-barred policies of Joe Biden. He is so arrogant. This government is so arrogant that they're willing to sacrifice an entire people whom they say are their allies in Ukraine. What Lindsey Graham says, we'll make them fight. It's good they're fighting to the last Ukrainian. We don't have to shed blood. Let's pass this bill. No respect for life. No respect for the sanctity of life. No respect for the loved ones who are, in the end, forced to deal with the death of their loved ones. None of that. No godliness in them. They had a form and a shape of godliness. But behind that form and that shape was Satan. Let's see. Let's see. The West is. Yeah. He said, Perseverance Chameleon says the West is a one-trick pony. The rest of the world is finally catching on. That's why I played the clips yesterday about Sergei Lavrov and all of the rest of them saying that the United States and the West uses the divide and conquer tactics so that they can continue their hegemonic reign. And then they get the people behind them by lies. And they don't understand that when you lie, listen, this is from me to you. I tell my children this, and I tell my nieces and my nephews this, and I talk to them, and I tell anybody this. When you want to be, say for instance, you want to be a martial artist. You know, I'm training a few martial artists. So if you want to be a martial artist, you dedicate yourself to that, right? You practice that because you want to learn that, right? You want to be proficient in that. So you practice it over and over again. If you want to be the best person who rides a bike, you become a cyclist, right? You or a pianist. If you want to play the piano, you put in the work, you put in the practice, and later on it pays dividends. And you can play the piano without a second thought. You can ride that bike without ever looking at it, right? You can do martial arts without ever thinking about it. Somebody swing at you, immediately the reflex is going up because you've practiced that. Now, if you are practicing deception and lies over and over again, from the top down, then guess what you become proficient in? Lying. So you become an arch deceiver. And that's what the West have done. They've done that. They are proficient in lying, making right wrong and wrong right. Look, to show you what I'm saying, let me give you an example. The West profess to be staunch Christians. And I know, I know it's a bunch of baloney. All of these politicians, they do that, right? And when you start telling them, listen, if that's what you believe, why are you backing this policy? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? They look at you like you're crazy. They look at you like you're crazy. You say, hey, God made what people say, Adam and Eve, right? Not Adam and Steve. You say, your religious book points against this and points against that. And then they tell you you're out of pocket, you're out of line. Because you point out to them the discrepancies in their actions and their talk with what they claim to believe in. Man, I'm telling you, this is absolutely insane. And the world is watching. It's watching. Let's see. And remember, everybody, hit the like button. Please hit the like button. Subscribe. I'm asking you all. Matter of fact, give me 10 more subscribers today, since YouTube is taking all my subscribers. You guys are watching. Give me 10 more subscribers today. Let's do that. Let's do that. For those of you who are on Rumble, give me 3 or 4 more subscribers. Those of you who are on Odyssey, give me 2 or 3 more subscribers. All right, do that. I just got done refurbishing a kitchen, and I just got done going across town doing some other stuff. Okay, and I'm saying, show your appreciation that I'm on here this long, not begging for money, not begging for, if you want to donate, you can, but not begging for anything. I'm just talking to you and putting down facts. So it's not much. As a matter of fact, my stream says I have 165 people in here at this moment. All right, 165 people are in the building right now. All right, so please hit the like button. Now, everybody, again, watch after the show. Please do this. I'm trying to get you all into doing this so that you'll see that I'm not making this stuff up. Immediately after we end the show, go to the Red Pill Diaries, and look at the view count for the video, and they'll have 1 or 2 views. 1 or 2 views and like 5 or 6 likes. There's 168 people in the building right now. Now, why do you think they're doing it to this channel? Because we're giving you truth with no chaser. No chaser. Now let's look. Oh, we got Australia in the building too. Diane O'Neill says, Australia, we pay $2.10 per liter. Good Lord. Good Lord. She said, and you guys be I digress, Diane. You win. You win. Let's see. Holly says, on target, Rashid, Wahhabis. Yes, this Wahhabism is a product of the MI6, MI5, or whatever. Yeah. They thought that they could use what they did, they took Islam. This is what they wrote. I'm talking about in their archives. And they made a firebrand of it that perverted Islam. And then they indoctrinated people and told them, hey, if you promote this, we'll put you in power. We'll do this, this, and this. And that's how you got these crazy people out there. And now the same people who perpetrated the crime are screaming that they got butt hurt. Stop that. Let's see. Nick Randall say Heshemite scum. Let's see. Sam Stone says the Zion Nazis have controlled the UK since the 29th century. Pedro said, Diane, ouch. I'm telling you, ouch. When you said, oh my God, $2 and some a liter. Whew. We got in New Zealand, Flying Crocodile said in New Zealand, we pay closer to $3 here in God, man. Oh my God. Oh, buddy. A liter? Diane says this. When we ask why so much, hey, we are told sorry, American heating season. Sorry, guys, American driving season. Listen what Perseverance Chameleon writes up here. Look at what he said. Islamic fanaticism is a Western construct. Absolutely. It's a byproduct. Do you not see in those pictures before Tom Osman became Osama bin Laden, and he's standing up next to Zbigniew Brzezinski, and they're calling him a freedom fighter? Google it. He's standing next to Osama bin Laden. President Barack Hussein Obama's mentor and Jimmy Carter's national security advisor, Zbigniew Brzezinski, is the one who is responsible for Al-Qaeda, who's the one responsible for Tom Osman becoming Osama bin Laden. And then they want to say fanatic Muslims, fanatic Islamists. Man, stop this madness. Perseverance say same as Hamas. Right. Hamas was a U.S.-Israeli construct. And then they broke free of that narrative. Israel and the U.S. built Hamas up so that they can weaken the Palestinian Authority. And then when Hamas grew a pair and broke away from it, now they're screaming and crying about Hamas as being a terrorist group. This is what the West does over and over and over again. Right? Yeah, Holly, I'm going to put this up here. You're right. Let's see. Oh, my God, I got to put this up here first. Flying Crocodile. Half of our $3.03 is tax. God. Oh, my God. $1.84. Oh, my God. They're killing you guys. All right. And all of it blows back to a declining dollar hegemony and Western debt and the constant overstretching of Western power. All right. You can't prosecute wars without money. And if you have no money, you've got to spend deficit, right? And that's what the West has been doing. Holly says ISIS apologized for attacking Israel. Right. The one time a missile strayed into Israel, ISIS publicly apologized. They didn't never apologize for attacking the Syrian people or the Iraqi people or going into Africa starting up trouble. They never apologized, but they apologized to Israel. And then Benjamin Netanyahu was seen at an Israeli hospital shaking hands with injured ISIS fighters. They were healing. They were treating them and to send them back on the battlefield. I didn't make this up. Go Google it. Look at the videos. But ISIS is an Islamic extremist terrorist group because they yell out Allahu Akbar. Man, stop this madness. And then Pedro says at Holly, that says it all, doesn't it? It absolutely says it all. Oh, yeah. I got to put this up here on the screen. Joel Bradford has a good point. I brought this point up a couple times myself. It's kind of ironic that this same Hamas group was fighting against the Syrian government and Iran. And now the Syrian and Iranian governments are fighting for them. That's right. Do you remember when ISIS invaded Syria? And Hamas disavowed their allegiance to Syria? And they were saying that they would help overthrow the Syrian Arab Republic's government? And then Assad then activated part of the defense clause with Iran and brought in Iranian advisors to help relieve some of the Syrian troops. We remember that. We definitely remember that. Let's see. Let's see. Listen what Ned Randall has up here. $4.60 a gallon in central British Columbia, Canada. God, you guys got me about to cry on the air. Oh, man. I tell you what. CC is in the building. My people who are on my channel over there, the Truth Serum. I love you guys more than life too. Those are my kids right there. I love you guys more than life too. Let's see. Diane says, yep, we have 40 cents per liter and then get again as well. So tax on God, dog, tax on tax. Oh my. PB World is in the building. Says freedom, my foot. You better believe it. And Perseverance Chameleon says the world is controlled by the dissemination of propaganda by the Zionist elite through all forms of media. And if you don't know, now you know. All right. It says, and Diane says, freedom is just another word for nothing else to lose. Gerald Salente has an excellent saying. And he says, and I'm butchering it, he says, when people lose everything, they lose it. We can apply that to governments. As long as America had the dominant currency, as long as her economy was humming because she was able to export inflation, right? And import goods. And as long as nobody challenged her debt standing, and she was able to fund her military to the tune of close to $1 trillion a year at that time. And she was the number one in trade, exports, manufacturing. Everything was cool. But as she lost those positions, one after the other, like a domino, to mostly China, seeing that she's losing those things that were her levels of power, she's now losing it. That's why she's prosecuting wars. She is pressing Russia on every side. She's in Armenia. She's trying to get Azerbaijan. She's over in Ukraine. She's over in Moldova. She's trying to turn the former Soviet states against Russia. She's down there in Georgia. She's trying everything she can. And Russia is the largest nuclear power on the planet. You don't think she's lost it? Because one bad miscalculation can lead to her annihilation. Do you understand? So we can come to the conclusion that Gerald Salente is right when he comes up with that slogan, because we see the American Republic, the American Empire, losing her position economically, politically, socially, ethically, morally, and militarily. And look how she's lashing out. She is losing everything. So guess what? Mentally, she becomes unstable and she's losing it. Isn't that right? Yeah, you know it's right. Let's go a little further. So anybody Sisi says Israel airspace bomb plus other Islam airspace are closed. Yeah, I know about the closing of the airspace. I guess they took Iran's word serious when Iran says that any nation that will join on with Israel in attacking Iran would be deemed as a target. Any nation that allows U.S. or Israeli overflight or territorial waters will be hit by Iranian ballistic missiles. That's what was said. And Netrando says, I hit the bullseye, hit the like button on notice of stream. Yeah, hey, the bullseye. Check this out. Matter of fact, somebody let me know that they got the stream that we did yesterday. I was looking at the messages that were left after the stream we did yesterday, and someone said this. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick. Everybody have patience with me, so you'll see what I'm talking about. Where is it at? All right, hold on one second. Let me pause this. This is what Daniela Cutter 301 says. Now, mind you, the show was yesterday, and she posted this 7 hours ago. So that's about at 1 o'clock. All right, my time. She says, I didn't get a notification until an hour ago. Good analysis. So she didn't get a notification that we were live yesterday until today at 12 o'clock for yesterday's show. I'm telling you, I didn't make this. Matter of fact, let me see if I can pull it up for you to see. Let's see if they will allow this. I got my blurred thing back, so I don't know if you can see it. I'm trying to hold it in a way that you may be able to see it. Go to the show. You can't see it. Go to the show and look at it. You'll see. Let's see. Yeah, put that up there. That needs to be up there. The Zionist overlords are restricting your influence, Rashid. Listen, I say this all the time. Okay, they're doing that, right? But I want them to understand that what God has ordained, no man can cut asunder. You understand? They cannot stop what God has put in motion. They may be powerful, but God is all powerful, right? They may be looking down at everybody, but God sits higher. You can't stop what God put in motion. It's like a locomotive, and you're a little person sitting on the track. Sooner or later, if you don't get out the way, you get steamrolled. And that's what I'm telling them. You understand? I'm telling them that. And so, Perseverance Chameleon says, in the UK, it's $8.84 per gallon of diesel. Oh my God. You know what I would do? I would get me one of those electric bikes, or I would get on me a bicycle, or I'd take public transportation unless I absolutely have to drive one of my cars. Joe Bradford is in the building again. That's $10 super chat. Thank you, Joel. He says, keep hitting them with that left and that right. We love you, bro. And I love each and every one of y'all back. That's why I do this. You know, I really appreciate it. Let me see something. I want to go back to something that we were just talking about. And I had it on my screen and I put it down for 1 second. Hold on. All right. There we are. So remember what they're doing right now in Iran. I mean, in Israel, right? It says, this just broke. This just broke. Hold on RT. That's not what I was even getting ready to go to, but it just broke. Some breaking news. It says, Iran struck important Israeli military targets, IRGC. Multiple IDF sites have been hit and destroyed. Not just hit, but destroyed. The Islamic Republic's Revolutionary Guard Corps have claimed. A large-scale missile and drone attack against Israel has been a success, Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps has said in the statement published by IRNA news agency. The Islamic Republic's military managed to hit and destroy some important military targets, it added, without providing any further details. Iran launched a major airstrike against Israel in response to what it called numerous crimes, supposedly committed by West Jerusalem. See, there we go with West Jerusalem again. Including an alleged Israeli attack on the Iranian consulate in the Syrian capital of Damascus. How is that alleged? When even Israel had come to the conclusion that they did it. So how if the aggressor admits to the murder, how is that alleged? See, this is what I'm saying. I don't care where you go. They continue to give them outs. They try to pacify the Zionists, and they try to downplay the ramifications of the policies of the Zionists. That's what they do. Alleged attack. Come on, stop this stuff, please. And it goes further and says, the attack that took place on April 1st killed 7 officers of the IRGC's Quds Force, including 2 generals. Now, the West continues to ask Iran not to escalate. If I was Iran, I would say, okay, how would you respond if somebody did you like that? Right? And they would give this public answer, because America can't hold anything behind closed doors. Israel can't hold anything behind closed doors. The Western world is so braggadocious, so arrogant, so full of hubris. Yeah, we would have thought things through and calmed things down and not escalate. Okay, then I'm gonna hit you then. Boom. And then I'll start saying, let's calm down. Let's don't escalate. Let's talk. Okay? Since you are on the receiving end like I was on the receiving end, now we can talk, not to escalate. But if you hit me and I hit you back, that's not escalation. That's retaliation. That's a big difference. You understand? And they splice these words and they use these to try to mask what is going on and to downplay the seriousness of the event and to give cover to the aggressor against the victim. Man, it's crazy. All right? So again, let's go back to something. Let's get off that article, that breaking article. And I want to go back to something before we come to the end of the show. Listen to what it says. This article right here. Remember when I read the other article at the beginning of the show about the United States and their allies are helping to down some Iranian missiles. Now, what's important about this is that when America shoots missiles, she warns other nations not to try to down her missiles, or they would take that as an attack on America, right? And yet we see America, quote unquote, and allies help Israel down Iranian missiles. So is that not an attack on Iran? If you say your missiles that you're firing at somebody is an extension of you as a state, then what about Iran? They don't have the same right? Huh? And then they openly, braggadociously say we are downing some of them. All right. Now listen what Iran said prior to the downing of some of the missiles. Iran warns foreign nations against helping Israel counterattack. Any country that provides air or land passage for West Jerusalem's troops will face Tehran's wrath, the Islamic Republic said. That's why all the airspace in the territorial waters have been closed off. Because they know Iran has the most extensive and most powerful drone and missile forces in West Asia. You saw them when they hit those U.S. bases in Iraq and had pinpoint accuracy. So it goes and says this. Any nation that helps Israel mount an attack against Iran will face serious consequences. The Islamic Republic's defense minister, Brigadier General Mohammed Reza Ashtiani, warned on early Sunday. His statement came as Tehran launched a massive airstrike against the Jewish state in what is called retaliation. Did I just say that? Not escalation, retaliation. For an Israeli attack on an Iranian consulate in Syria. Any country, not most countries, not some countries, and not every country but the United States. They said any country that opens its airspace or soil to Israel to attack Iran will receive our decisive response. All right. So now that gives you an understanding of why these fiefdoms, these sheikhs, and these so-called kingdoms have closed off the airspace and the land routes and also the territorial waters. Because most of you don't understand that a lot of these people, a lot of these rulers of these lands, they are dealing with disgruntled populations. And these disgruntled populations if the government is hit, if the military is weakened in any way, then the people will rise up. They'll feel that it is their chance now to rise up and remove these dictators that were put in place through hereditary moves by the British, the U.S., and the French. They'll throw them out or kill them. That's what's going on. They know that the time of their sheikdoms, their fiefdoms, and their kingdoms are at an end, because injustice cannot go on in perpetuity. The waging of war, global war, and fighting everybody and demonizing everybody that don't agree with you, don't want to live like you, don't want to be governed like you, that want independence of mind, education, and of nation. You cannot continue waging war against those nations. You see what's going on, the ramifications, the blowback effect of American imperialism, of British imperialism, of Western exceptionalism. All of this is brought to you by the North Atlantic Terrorist Organization under the dominion of the U.S. and British Empire, because they're one and the same. Don't think that this is the American Empire without the British Empire. These are connected to the hip, the chest, the shoulder, and the head. Listen, on that note, I want to thank each and every one of you for giving me your time today. Really, I really do. Time is the most precious and valued commodity. That's why you make the most of your time. So when you give your time, you make sure you get an equal or greater payout from your time. I hope today you've received an equal or greater payout. I know that I did. Spending my time with you all, we feeding off each other. We're trying to get the truth out and try to get understanding. You know, I think when you build like that mentally, you make way for a better future. Because right now, all we see is war. I go out the same way that I always come in, with love in my heart for each and every one of you who love truth. But know that the love that I have for you will always pale in comparison to the love that God has for you. Until we next speak again, stay strong, stay true, but above all things, stay righteous. And remember this mantra: do right, not just because you want credit or because people are watching. Do right by yourself and do right by others because it's the right thing to do, because the Almighty is always watching. Hey, mama, your baby boy loves you more than life. Deuces, everybody. I'm out of here. Thank you for joining me on this powerful platform and powerful stream. Thank you all. Peace. We out.